मेरे को जाना है फॉर अ डेस्टिनेशन हॉलिडे, ये कौन सा एक्सपेंडिचर सडनली आ गया यार? ये 40th बर्थडे सेलिब्रेट करने वाली बात कहाँ से आ गई? ये वैलेंटाइन पे इतना. सो दोस गाइज आर नॉट प्रिपेयर्ड. when you found a life partner and you got married, you didn't realize that these were expenditures that you have to cater for. And the wife is thinking, she wants to be on the same kneel as the rest of her friends. She said, what? Everybody is celebrating. I need to.
Because everybody is a social media influencer now.
Isn't it? Get up in the morning and everybody has an advice for you. Like I'm giving right now, and it's irrelevant. 3 different ways to do to control your anger, or 6 different ways you can control bloating in your stomach every day. How much of this information are you going to handle? So what happens is this loneliness starts setting in because the guy is like, "Arey, bands kar yaar. Can I just have my breakfast and go to work and just concentrate on what I want to do?" And slowly that demarcation is happening where somebody is feeling, because they are being brought away, the new world and new age concepts are being driven in, their conditioning is changing. And so the 40 guy is feeling really, really lonely. He finds more relatability among the guys than he does with the entire family as of now. Because everybody's...
Bros.
Because suddenly the child is not listening to you. Because he's saying, you can't dare to touch me like this. This is child abuse.
Huh?
Obviously, right? So the kids know now what child abuse is. कि इसने तो सर पैसा मार दिया. Don't talk to me. How dare you talk about child abuse? ये हो गया ना. अब वो सब... You grew up getting a whack on your back. You thought it was no big deal. Yeah? Normal गया. हम लोग तो survive कर गए. So he's not able to do that. So he has to change himself at 40. And this is happening now because of this social media. It's a culture you can't stop. There are many merits to it, which is coming in, but it's against the conditioning of this guy. So now the guy doesn't know what to do. बेटे के साथ कैसे बात करना पता नहीं. बेटी के दोस्तों के साथ एक जमाने में सर पे आशीर्वाद के बात कर सकती थी, बैठ पैर जो भी था उनका मतलब आशीर्वाद. अभी भैया तू इनअप्रोप्रिएट टच हो गया भैया, तू नहीं कर सकता, which is right. You can't touch. But usko liye, I'm just giving you a small example, right?
Sure.
So he now finds that all the ways that he knew is all wrong. And he doesn't mean to be offensive. He doesn't want to be considered as somebody. So I remember I made a big mistake when I went and I gave a speech somewhere and I said, "Oh, she's such a pretty little thing." And then I realized I was objectifying women. I didn't even know that. The intent was not to do that. But I had to quickly correct myself because I got like bomb-buzzled on this thing. And how dare you call somebody a pretty little thing? And I really meant it as a compliment, not as objectifying something. So, and I learned, okay? So and I realized that for some people it might be offensive. But at least I have the wisdom to understand that. For a normal guy, he doesn't know that. He said, "Yaar, मैं तो compliment ही दे रहा था." Then he realized कि compliment ही मत दे भाई.
Yeah.
तू कुछ बोली मत.
It's also the story of a lot of guys my age. Who find themselves being slightly different from Gen Z mindset.
Absolutely.
I'm just 1993 born.
Exactly.
I thought I was young.
Yeah.
But I hear you.
So when you go to so 5 years ago or 8 years ago when you went to a disco, if you asked a girl out to dance, you were one of those dudes. Because 80% of the guys will never have the guts to even go ask a girl out to dance. Now it's different. Now there is a rule to be followed when you're asking them and what has to be done. Jo 10% people, guys and girls who are rowdies, who did not adhere to anything, they still exist even now. But the rest of the 80% who had the decency to go and actually woo a woman in the right manner don't know now what the rules of the game are.
You have bros now?
Yeah, a lot of them.
Who are your bros?
All over the industries. Do you want me to name them? But I'm just saying...
Like, as in, are they from childhood, college?
Oh, yeah. So they are from my childhood. They are from my college. People who will take a bullet for me and I'll take a bullet for. All of them, yes, absolutely. We don't have to keep in touch every day. We don't have to... But one message or one word is enough for them to understand exactly where I am and what I'm trying to say.
Very important for a man's mental health, right?
Absolutely.
Probably cornerstone along with family.
Yeah. No, it's a very important... I think... If you don't engage, and if you don't find a place to vent out everything that you're feeling and talking, like for example, it's therapeutic for me to sit and talk to you right now and you realize how much in common we share to a lot of things, right? If I don't have this conversation, I'm lonely. Case in point, the guy who was saying loneliness in 40s.
Just because it's a bro conversation, maybe.
Yeah, because it's unfiltered.
Versus most of life which has become filtered.
Because you have to adhere to norms that are new to you. So
I also feel like this is why people like the format. Feel like they're in the room with us and they're like, that's a breath of fresh air.
Yeah. we're also constantly aware that this is going on record. And so the comments of this can disrupt your life if you say something stupid.
I've come to accept that there's certain things that I will never say online. Even if I'm thinking those thoughts, I'll never let those out. One of my mentors, Zakir Khan, told me that, pardon my language, okay? पर हर किसी के अंदर 30% thoughts रहते हैं. And they shouldn't come out in public.
Correct.
So I am just aware of that. But the remaining 70%, I know that within that 70%, there's about 10 to 20% that can possibly get me into trouble. But now I can't stop those at least. If I have to get into trouble, I will, because I know that my heart's in the right place.
So you're an ideal example of what's happening around the world right now. So you were, first of all, free in what you said earlier on in social media. Then you got whacked. Oh, तूने ये फोटो कैसा डाल दिया? तूने तो sect को improve कर दिया. How can you be so religious? How can you be such a fundamentalist? Whatever. And he said, "Bobo, idea was not that, bhai. I just wanted to, spread the peace message of peace that comes with being who I am." But so you stopped putting those messages. You stopped putting those photographs. You stopped, like you said, now the 30%, you stopped saying that, okay? And then the fact that you couldn't say it starts getting irritating. And that starts on your mind. And you're saying, I'm not a pushover. What the hell? Who are these bastards who are commenting on me? Inki to aisi ki taisi kiski. And then you want to go back. And suddenly you swung a little more than you intended to. Right? That's a common phenomenon that's happening around the world. People coming back and reclaiming their land in a little more than they should have, which is causing a lot of unrest.
When I meet an American guy now, even if you crack a joke on them being white, they become a little guarded. If you say the word Asian or black, they just become guarded.
Yeah.
Even if they want to laugh at a joke, they won't laugh.
Yeah.
Versus if you talk to a white guy from Britain or Australia, they love offensive humor.
Yeah.
They love inappropriate jokes.
Yeah.
So my angle is what's up in USA? Because everyone's getting oversensitized there, and then that's trickling down to urban society all over the world.
Which is why Trump is winning. This is swing back in an opposite direction. So what I'm trying to say is, I had a Pilates coach, very nice guy. Okay. And he was training with me. And then one day, we were having a conversation. He's like, so was yours a love marriage or was it an arranged marriage? And then he bit his tongue. And he said, I'm sorry, was that offensive to ask you that? And I said, you and I are perfectly good friends. We were having a great conversation. Which part of that conversation told you that I'd feel offensive if you asked me a question like this? But it was his current conditioning that makes him very unsure about the footing he's on. And that is going to eventually last till he starts pushing back again and saying, to hell with it. Okay, to hell with it. मैं तो सीधा सा पूछ रहा हूँ. I didn't want to offend you. I don't know what is going to offend you. But you can't stop me from asking, I'm in a conversation. So that pushback is starting to happen right now. And I'm just hoping and praying it's not too much in the opposite direction. That's all.
I'm sorry, the name's not coming to my head. Pardon me.
Sure.
There was a web series you had done.
Decoupled.
I know a lot of guys who secretly enjoyed the shit out of Decoupled.
Oh, I know a lot of guys who openly enjoyed it also. I know a lot of women who enjoyed it with their husbands.
Really?
More of that than anything else.
Very edgy show. I feel that if it released now, it wouldn't have got as much of a backlash as it got when it released, I think 2 years ago.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Because if now Animal was accepted, Decoupled is nothing compared to what was shown in Animal.
Yeah. No, Animal would have still been accepted by the masses. They're still not as, reeled in as we all are in the cultures that we are in right now. But Decoupled, I think, would have created as much furore even now. It was so anti-woke, in terms of what it was doing. And you won't believe how many head of governments around the world related to it and messaged me. It is crazy. It was crazy.
I remember meeting you around the time it released or like 2 months later, and I told you I really liked it.
Yes.
See, I'm a podcaster, so don't mind me saying
of course
this.
not.
But I can quickly figure out kind of through the expression what reaction I've created within the other person. I think there was a part of you that was like, oh, cool. Like there was an internal wink at me.
I'm shameless. I internal wing, external wing, everything. I did the show for crying out loud, yeah. So while I was doing it, I was very skeptical for 2 reasons. One, it was a show in English in India. And secondly, it was radical. It was something that I had never done before. And thirdly, it was going against everything that, the woke culture was hoping to induce into us. And so, but I didn't know how to do it. Like, I didn't know how to play the character without making him look like he's judging, right? So while talking to Manu, I got the idea when he said, I was observing it, and I said, hold on, that's how I'm going to do it. I'm going to be an observer. I'm not going to be somebody who passes a judgment. I'm just going to be, it's thinking out loud. I observed this and my observation came out verbally and loud. That's all there was to it. So that way he became a little more endearing as opposed to somebody who was a jerk.
Let me just say that in the long term, you earned the respect of a lot of men.
I know. Wink, wink.
And I highly recommend that people go watch that scene.
Yeah.
I remember when I was first watching it, I was like, whoa, this is exactly what a lot of the thoughts of the guys are all over the world. Did you get annoyed dealing with like the outcomes?
No. So there was a bunch of people who didn't like the show because they thought it was too offensive, which is fair. That's their opinion. But by and large, the people who saw it, I mean, we don't get feedbacks only from the 8 people who write reviews now. If that was the case, I would never survive in the industry. They have never gotten a good review for anything, basically. So it's okay. The point is the public that it was meant to go to and entertain, it did. The upper middle class, the middle class who understood the language and the lifestyle there, they were guffing away, laughing at their repeat values to it, and people asking me when the second season is coming even now. And it did its job the way it's supposed to.
So, when's
I don't know, man. I as of now, there's nothing in the pipeline. I want to know what Netflix feels and how they're going to deal with the backlash of part 2. But as far as part 1 is concerned, I think it became legendary. I really enjoyed doing it.
Yeah. Very edgy, very memorable. And you can't say that about this large amount of web series that are coming out now. So many are forgettable. There are few which are like incredibly memorable.
Yeah.
Decoupled is in that bracket because of how edgy it was.
Yeah.
In an era full of, I don't want to say vanilla content, but the content that always tries to play it safe.
What is the meaning of vanilla content?
Vanilla is like being extra careful, like you're that gym trainer.
Oh, so bland, basically. I understand. Okay.
Like very, sorry, did I? Is it
okay.
That's vanilla, which is, I think the change we're seeing in this decade. Post-COVID, people swung to the other side.
Yeah.
And now it's kind of balancing out.
Yeah. Well, the quicker the better, man. Because we need to really get a lot of order back in the world and a lot of peace, because a fragmented society is not good for anybody.
What do you do for fun?
Oh, I have a shameless amount of activities, bro. So I'm an RC pilot, so I fly planes and helicopters that I build. I go golfing.
That you build?
Yeah. Okay. We build and fly. Then golfing, which is another sport. I'm a biker. I love super bikes, and I'm an engineering enthusiast, so I do that. I'm a skier. I love skiing. I write stories wherever I go and speculate with people. I love finding new vegetarian cuisines around the world. So wherever I go, I'm a vegetarian. Okay. I eat eggs, so I'm an vegetarian. But so there is never a dull moment in my life, and I'm really grateful to God that He's given me the right amount of money that I need to keep working hard to fulfill all the things that I desire that money should give me. So yeah, that way I'm highly indulgent with my life.
I think the further one's career gets, if one is doing fairly well, and please correct me if you've had a different reality, but this is what I see with a lot of guys my age. Every year, a lot of guys aim to get incrementally more expensive purchases just to satisfy that little boy within themselves.
Yeah.
That keeps happening with age. You keep buying like slightly more expensive.
Yeah, the desire is always there. And then rationale sets in sometimes. And you say, pagal hai kya?